Super Mecha Champions, called SMC, is an anime-inspired third-person shooter developed by NetEase mainly for the mobile platform. It has been ported to the PC, and as of this video's release, will also have a new Steam version. The game is centered mainly around the Battle Royale mode, which supports solo or 3-person squad play. The game also features additional modes such as 5v5 team deathmatch and a 2v2 mode. The selling point of this game is in the mechas that the players can summon and pilot within each mode, changing the way the game is played. Each mech has a varied playstyle and some degree of customizability in terms of how they play, and we'll get more into that as we go into the video. I knew nothing about this game until 2 weeks ago, that being March 9th, 2021. The lack of marketing is very transparent, and that is a bit of a shame to see, and as I was trying to figure out if I wanted to play this game, I didn't really find many useful resources in terms of current developments or how the game is or an actual good review. So I wanted to cover both. My name is Versana, and please join me in this first impression / review of SMC in 2021, where we try to answer the question of, should you play this game? This video will be split into 3 parts. For the first part, we're going to be talking about the initial appeal and some initial thoughts. The second part will be the mobile gameplay experience, and I have more time with that currently. And lastly, we'll talk about the Steam experience and compare that with the mobile experience. As a disclaimer, I am not sponsored by NetEase or any other affiliate company, so this is my own personal opinion and thoughts on the game. And so let's dive right in. There's something to be said about a game when the sound direction, art style, and atmosphere all come together to make a cohesive experience that resonates with you. This resonance that I am feeling from Super Mecha Champions probably stems from the game's similarity to an older third-person title that oozed a similar atmosphere for sporty competition and style. The game I am talking about is S4 League, an arena shooter focused around parkour and a world that settled differences with this cyber shooting sport. This should sound pretty similar to SMC, especially just by viewing the promotional material. That game has a special place in my heart as I spent a lot of time trying to get good at it, and the art style influenced me a lot as an artist, so that's also another reason why I hold it so dear. It's sadly shutting down in April of this year. It had a over 10-year run, so goodbye my friend, have a nice rest. My first thought about playing this game on mobile was less than stellar once I learned that I could not use a Bluetooth controller with my phone. However, I was pleasantly surprised about its touch controls customizability, where I can kind of rearrange all the buttons wherever I want on the screen, delete buttons, or even make it less visible or more visible. The addition of other features such as an in-game voice chat and an in-game video recorder / highlight reel was very cool, and I think it overall adds to a complete package for people looking to get into the game and make content. What I was expecting was I was going to enjoy the mech battles and not really enjoy the on-foot part, but once I became more accustomed to the touch controls, I felt it was more fun as I was headshotting people, sniping people more often, and I didn't not like it. It's not the best, but it's serviceable, and that's fine because that's not the main focus of the game. On mobile, weapons and abilities have aim assist, and that made sense. The atmosphere of a technologically advanced world kind of helped to sell me that this is a feature and not a crutch, even though it is, right? Because it's a mobile title. There are definitely some game design choices that were made intentionally because this is a mobile game. Things such as the hoverboard, the ease of picking up and just playing the game, mechs having semi-limited combat functionality, all contribute to kind of simplifying the game a little bit and also making it easier to control on a touchscreen. As a free-to-play title, I was expecting a ton of microtransactions, and while that assumption is not wrong, I do want to note that these microtransactions within SMC has no impact on the game outside of unlocking mechs and characters, which you can do anyways by playing the game enough. I do enjoy cosmetic-only microtransactions, and I gotta say, these premium mech skins look very, very sick, and it shows that the developer put a lot of time into making the models for these mechs. For a player versus player game, I'm so thankful that all these microtransactions do not give people an inherent advantage or go into plain pay-to-win territory, as it keeps the game feeling competitive, and this helps me get motivated to play the game more and get more invested in the game. Because there is no pay-to-win, the only way to get good is to get good, and I love that progression of skill. Once the player reaches level 30, they unlock all of their tech slots for their mech of choice. Each mech has an array of techs that they can use to kind of augment your playstyle in whichever way you want. There are 3 offensive techs and 3 defensive techs, and they can do things such as increase your rate of fire, increase your shot velocity, increase your accuracy, increase your long range damage, short range damage, fuel costs, shield recovery, durability, movement speed, all of these things, right? They're very minor, but they can make a big difference on how you play your mech. For example, this sword weeb mech that you've been seeing throughout this video that I've been playing as, I can kind of spec him into a long-range sniper doing sword slashes from far away, or I can kind of spec him into being a brawler. And I think that variance is very awesome for the game. And as you level up your mech through playing the game and increasing its proficiency, you can also unlock customizable modules. So each mech has 3 modules, and each module has 2 modes. And you can customize these modes before you get into a game, which can also help to further vary your playstyle. There is a special module called the Core Module, and there's Core Module 1 and Core Module 2 for each mech. And these core modules, you can only equip the first or the second one and not both, and they change the way that you play your mech in a drastic way. For the Battle Royale mode, you have to find these within gold loot crates that will be marked on the map, and I really recommend doing that, as it can help you get an early advantage on your opponents. Another minor detail that was a big deal for me was the lobby. Just joining in the lobby gave me this feeling of hype, a sense of scale. Seeing your mech on display was very awesome. Seeing your friends' mechs when they join you is very awesome too. Looking out the window and seeing the whole city, oh man, that feels great. It feels very cohesive. It really helps to sell the atmosphere of the game. There's room here to expand for sure, and on the mobile and PC version, there's even like a sofa, a bar, and an empty room that may have been hints of housing and room customization that was in the works that never got released. Sadly for the Steam version, this was removed and there is no longer a second floor. Please bring it back, NetEase. It's very cool. I loved it. Oh my goodness. I'm sure other people did too. know, I covered quite a bit on the mobile experiences within my first impressions section. When I was thinking about it, a lot of my impressions stemmed from the fact that SMC was designed as a mobile experience first. So for this section, I will be covering the overall feel and moment-to-moment gameplay on mobile. First up, the game runs smoothly at a constant 60 FPS on my Samsung S20 Plus. However, this phone is newer and the performance may vary greatly with other phone models. So I guess it is a pay-to-win scenario in this case, as the better your hardware, the easier the game is to control, which nets you more wins. This game can also be played on an emulator, and you can probably key map on the emulator itself. As for the matchmaking, I'm not sure if the emulator versus native client is separated or not. My first couple games were full of bots, but starting from around Gold 3, I was getting more and more frequent players, and that is good to see. In 2 weeks of casually playing this game, I was able to get to Platinum 4, playing mainly the Battle Royale mode. This leads me to believe that the biggest determinant of rankings is playtime and not overall skill, and that will probably remain the case up until after Diamond 1 for a game like this. I'm not sure, I do not have the experience on this, this is just my general impressions on the rankings, since there is no ranked and casual mode separation. Being a game designed for mobile, SMC's server will have to be smart about how it detects packages like, bullets that hits other players, because the vast majority, I'm talking about like 95%, maybe 99% of all mobile gamers are either on Wi-Fi or an LTE network. Wi-Fi and LTE networks do not compare to a wired connection, and with the variance of the player base's ping being a big factor for a shooting game, I think SMC does a pretty okay job. On my end, I have not really noticed an issue outside of the occasional frozen enemy. I have a friend who lags sometimes and freezes, but for me personally, I never encountered something like that, nor have I randomly died from a lag spike, either, just walking around and some lagger just shoots me, or I lag and all of a sudden I'm dead and the circle's closed in. It's also nice to note that if you disconnect in any way in this game, you can kind of join back in and you're okay for the most part. You don't just immediately get disqualified. The hit detection seems okay for the most part. I had some occasional hiccups from far distances trying to snipe people, but that could just be the bullet trajectory changing and not the server ping itself. I can try to test it out better on the Steam experience section. My overall thoughts on the network connectivity and hit detection is that it's pretty good for a phone game. I'm not sure how it stacks up on the PC client, but yeah, here's hoping it's better. And speaking of the PC Steam version, let's jump to that right now, because I know you've all been waiting for it. The Steam version seems to be an enhanced port/emulator of the phone engine. It is glitchy at times and was laggy when I first started playing the tutorial, but after going into the settings and being able to pump everything up to the highest settings, I had a much smoother experience. Occasionally, the game would stutter and have some sort of screen lag, but it seems to be server-wide as my party members had the same exact issues at the exact same time. Based on my ping, it seems that the server for mobile and the Steam version are at the exact same location. These glitches and server stutters need to be fixed, as it can be very impactful to a player's gameplay experience. I ran into very little bots on the first day of the Steam launch. It seems a lot of people are trying this game out, so that's a good thing. And some of the squad play was very intense on the first day of play. On Steam, I also found that some weapons that I previously ignored on mobile to be very fun and effective, such as the chargeable anti-mech ion cannon. Outside of launch issues and server issues, I found that the Steam version was overall an enjoyable experience to play because of the fact that I have better controls. It may take a couple games to understand the flow of battle for the Battle Royale portion and kind of how robots work, but I'm still learning, and so far I'm having a good time. So yeah, Flaws aside, you like third-person shooters, you like the anime aesthetic and the music and art direction, I definitely would recommend giving this game a try. Give yourself a couple games to kind of learn the ins and outs of the game, and use the training room. It's very handy to kind of get a feel of which mechs you like. Alright, let's hop on to my closing thoughts. I came in expecting something generic that would just be a nostalgia trip for me for about a week and then I would move on. However, this game has done a good job of selling its world to me and keeping me playing. From some of the things I've seen in this game, from the mecha animations to the city design to the lobbies, I see a lot of passion and a lot of potential. This game is oozing with style and I really want to see the game get expanded upon and grow. I haven't had this much fun with a free-to-play game that I just decided to play on a whim in quite a while. And I wanted to help out this community and NetEase by providing some feedback and suggestions on how to improve the game. So my takeaways are as follows. I love the atmosphere. The music, the graphics, the presentation, and the mecha animations are all very good, very robust, and makes me want to play the game more. Just that launch screen every time you start a match gets me so hyped. That is awesome. That is great attention to detail. The mobile client has a robust array of features such as controller customization, in-game voice chat, in-game text chat, and a recording feature that helps aspiring content creators. That is awesome to see. This might be standard fare for every other mobile battle royale game, but I have no idea. I just think that the feature is nice to have. If every mobile game has this, great, perfect. And the last takeaway is, although the focus is on Battle Royale, I think expanding the 5v5 and the 2v2 team deathmatch is definitely the way to go if you want a community to stick around. Speaking of the 2v2, there's so much potential here, as right now the 2v2 format is you pick 3 unique mechs and then you duke it out. Every life you get a new mech until all of your lives are gone, so everybody has 3 lives, right? So by expanding on this, creating a separate ranked ladder, and even hosting some tournaments on the Steam community page or through Discord, I think that would attract more players into trying it out and getting some media coverage as well. By offering prizes such as chromatic tickets, cash currency, or just new mech unlock tickets, I think that would be a great way to incentivize people to play. If you're thinking about taking it even further, with this tournament idea, you can make it like bi-weekly or monthly and fleshing out more of the modes, such as making it double elimination, having it best 2 out of 3 rounds, and maybe having a map selection mode. So the first game, it can be randomized. The second game, the loser would pick, and then so on and so forth until there's a winner of 2 rounds out of 3. And let's say this 2v2 tournament takes off and you see regulars come in. Maybe if the champion is the same 3 times in a row, you make them the defending champion. They can't enter the next tournament, but the winner of that tournament has to fight the defending champion who could not enter the tournament match. The winner of the current tournament would get prizes, of course, and the defending champ, whoever wins that round, gets like a super prize, maybe a EX skin or something very valuable within the game. Oh, and I mentioned this before, but it's very nice to see microtransactions not be pay to win for a game like this. So, good job overall, NetEase. I appreciate the design choices that you've made. Okay, now to the cons and some suggestions for it. My first takeaway is that I think NetEase should enable Bluetooth controller support for all phones. I think that would give everybody a much funner time playing the game on mobile. For me, I would probably be playing it all the time if I could use a Bluetooth controller. And all my other boomer friends probably feel the same way. The second takeaway is the lack of advertisement or publicized coverage for this game. I legitimately didn't even know a Steam version is coming out until I checked the Discord for SMC. And that got me thinking, like, maybe sure, funding is limited, but incentivize people through in-game events to kind of advertise the game or share the game's content. Something that will get the community talking and trying to invite more people. I think tournaments or prizes are a great way to do it, especially if it's officially by NetEase. I think that has a big potential, especially with the Steam community page and announcement bulletin board. And here's the biggest con, the biggest takeaway that I got from all this. The PC version, the Steam version, they're different. The mobile version, they're different. Your player base is fragmented. You have dedicated players who would love to crossplay or play on different platforms, but they don't want to lose their level investment or premium currency investment or skin investment, right? There has to be a way, even if it's not cross progression, for them to say like, hey, I have an account, let me link it to my new Steam account and maybe get the currency back. I know that you are doing that for the PC to Steam transfer, but I think doing that for mobile as well would invite people who mainly play on mobile and are very invested in your game to play on the Steam version, which will help you defragment the player base. And maybe having cross promotion where if you level up or do something on the Steam version, you unlock exclusive stuff on mobile and vice versa. Right? Not everybody will appreciate this, I'm sure, but I think finding ways to advertise across advertise is smart. So I hope this video helped you decide if this was worth playing or not. I tried to be very objective, but I do have some biases, like as I mentioned, on the nostalgia factor and my love for this aesthetic. I definitely say if you are similar to somebody like me and just watching the gameplay was appealing to you, give it a try. It's free, and who knows, maybe you'll end up enjoying it a lot like I did as well. Now if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, it helps me out a lot. And if you want more awesome content like this, or for me to cover any other games, please leave it in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe. As of right now, I am currently a Genshin Impact channel, where I do guides on my favorite characters, or give some new theory crafting ideas, and I also like to do some creative, artistic Genshin videos on the side. Actually, one of them is currently playing right now in the video, and if you enjoyed that, I will put a link somewhere in this video. Go check it out, I think you'll like it a lot. If you play SMC and you watch all the way to the end, and you have some tips you want to give to new players like me, please leave it down in the comments. What is your most favorite thing to do? What is your least favorite thing about this game? I love to hear it, and I'm sure many other people watching this video will want to read some opinions from an experienced SMC player as well. I also have a SMC clan that I recently made. If you would like to play with me or join me, I'm leaving it on the screen. So go ahead and invite yourself to the clan. I'll be glad to have you, and we can play sometimes. This is Versana. I'm so glad that you stayed with me all this time, and I'll see you later.